into the black hole. Sing for my soul.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Sunshine on Leyth. Season 15. Got there in the end. If you're still enjoying it, drop a like, that'd be spectacular. I don't know how many more seasons we've really conceivably got left before FM21. I know there'll be one more. That much we know for sure because there's loads of time for that. The second one after that, because it depends on when the beta comes out, I feel like 2 more is probably conceivable, which I don't know if actually going to be enough time for us to get this done, but we're going to do our damnedest to get as close as we bloody well can. That's all we can really ask for at this point. But we have had a massive summer as far as transfers go. Nearly £150 million spent, as well as probably, I believe, the largest amount of outlays from the other direction as well, to balance out the books a little bit. But firstly, and somewhat annoyingly, Ben Putman-Kiteley has left the club. It's frustrating because he wanted to leave because he wants a new challenge, and I'm just like, you just played in a European final and you wanted a new challenge. I guess there's that, but like, he's not going to get that here. He's at best a League 2 quality player, maybe. So I don't know what he's expecting. He's not found a new club. I even tried to re-sign him, and he would enter talks with me, but wanted £68,000 a week. £68,000 a week for Ben Putman-Kiteley. Even I'm not that in for the memes. And in addition to that, Lonchar is now fluent in English as well, which I really do think will help him this year. I've made a few little... I've actually been watching friendlies. I imagine that 15 seasons into a save, I've been watching friendlies. I wanted to try out the idea of a Segunda Volante. Don't think it worked that well. I even signed a player potentially for the role. Now, it's not a big deal that we're not going to do it. It just means that we'll reassess him a little bit. But what I think I did do in the preseason friendlies was I just turned down the tempo 1 notch. That's all. And we seem to be so much better in front of goal. Like, the players would either take the ball, get it on their right foot or the left foot to actually take the shots on properly. Now, again, against friendlies, you can bear that in mind. But we weren't doing that before I started doing that. Players were going round the keeper way more. It's weird. And I didn't even think that's what the tempo thing did. So maybe it's completely placebo. However, don't knock it, I suppose, because it seems to be working. As we have actually played a couple of games to come back today for a derby as well. We're doing a derby on the first day of the season, except we've actually already played 2 league games. But I figured it would get more of the transfer window out the way, and then we get to come back with Blackhaven. Because, hey, why not? But I'm excited about the prospects for us this year, given that we've won a European trophy. We are champions of Europe, and now unable to be managed in Outcast to Icons. You'll love to see it. No further beating around the bush. We've got ourselves some transfers, some off-camera matches, and then a derby against Blackhaven, who are, yes, as you guessed it, just as bad as they were last year, despite making some ridiculously good signings in my mind. But we'll go through that all now. So first up, transfers out. Hicham Seba has joined Dusseldorf for £1.1 million. Main reason for that was the fact that we have Jerry Ellison and Russell Griggs sitting behind him, so I felt like Hicham Seba wasn't really going to get much game time. He was expecting more than that, so for £1.1 million, for joining Dusseldorf came in, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Next up, slightly bigger out though, Matej Vukuripa has gone to Dinamo Kiev for £12 million. Now, I think he cost us a similar amount of money, if I recall. Nope, that is complete nonsense. Sorry, it's 8.75 rising to £12 million if he makes like 50 appearances, and there's like some other clauses in there too. Still, it's a profit, and I'll take that anyway. And I also sold Sam Vertelboer to Ajax for 15 million, rising to 17 million. So again, you can really see that when I brought in the new left back, he will be a starter. And Sam Vertelboer was not happy about that and basically kicked up a fuss. And I'd already got rid of Vukuripa at that point. So I figured, you know what, we'll actually be okay with going with Keith Abbott and the new boy this season, because Vertelboer was kicking up some nonsense. I felt like he was kind of at the peak of his powers, and his crossing ability was one of the things that was really letting him down. So we have kind of improved in that area. Another of the big outs is Bernat Ramos, who's gone to Nantes for, I think, 17.25 million. 13 rising to 17.25. But again, it's more money in the bank for us for a player that was never really going to feature for us that much. Didn't really feature for us much last year. So I felt like it was a sensible deal at the time to get some of that cash back on the deal. I don't know how much we spent. It might have even cost us money this time. Franz Sullivan has also finally moved on from the club for 4.9 rising to £6.25 million to Bursaspor. It was another one of these situations where I just felt like we had too many strikers for positions that weren't going to play, and he was on quite large wages, so it felt like the right move for Franz at the time. 161 appearances for Whitport and 62 goals, but he's now moved on to pastures new over in Turkey. Never did quite get that England call-up, or a Trinidad call-up, sadly, but there you go. So got some money for Franz too. But sad to see him go. Franz has been a legend. And the last big money out is Grant White. £7.75 million to Kiev. Now remember, we signed Whitey on a free transfer, so this one's all profit if you exclude like wages and stuff, although I don't think he was actually on that high of a wage either. And when you look at him, he's actually a really good player. Like, generally speaking, I think he'll do very, very well for Kievo. He just didn't do it for us. And honestly, part of me wonders if maybe he would have done better now that we've made a tiny little change to the tactic that might be able to get the best out of us. I don't know. but I just don't think he was going to be able to stick around long enough to find out, to be honest. So the first signing in is Hector Villalba, who has come in from Estudiantes over in Argentina. He is he's very, very good. Firstly, he's a model citizen. Can we talk about that for a second? 3.5 star, 6'2". You might notice he's on loan at Wolfsburg. This is one of these things that annoys me. The game told me we would get a work permit for this guy. So I put the bid in, and it's like, you must do this, 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 and this, and you'll get the work permit. So I was like, cool, it's fine. And then they just didn't give us the work permit. Thankfully, he would join us anyway, which was nice. And we've managed to loan him out to Wolfsburg for a bit. And I do feel like this guy's going to continue to play well. And he's a very, very good player. Like, £5.5 million for this guy is sensational. Personally, 6'2", he's decently quick, he's got good heading, tackling, marking, anticipation. He's not the most aggressive, which is one thing I would say about him, but I still think for £5.5 million to pick up a guy like this isn't too bad. Just a bit pissed off that it told me we'd get a work permit for him and then we just didn't, which is a little bit annoying, but what can you do? Then we've got Mike Nielsen, who is a defensive midfielder. £9 million is coming from Bromby. And again, you can see his values immediately jumped up. I was looking for some value picks. This was the guy I was originally actually bringing in to potentially play as the Segunda Volante. But then that just didn't really work out for us. But for £9 million, I still think we've picked ourselves up one hell of a player that can kind of occupy several different roles. The key thing about Mike Nielsen for me is that he's got extremely good tackling as well. And one thing I often find about our playmakers in this role is that they tend to be a bit more on the playmaking side and a little bit less on the aggressive side of things. Whereas Mike Nielsen is none of that whatsoever. Like, he's got 16 positioning as well. His tackling is 15. His marking is 14. This guy can do a very, very good job from the defensive side of the game as well as the attacking side of the game. Next up is Jack Charlie. Yeah, an Englishman from Warsaw. Now, this is one of the weirder transfers I've done, because normally, you firstly look at this guy. He was 15 when we signed him, and he already had 15 heading and 15 tackling at the age of 15, and 12 marking. Let's just get that out of the way first. Like, he has got very good just attributes in a lot of the positions that are important to me as a centre-back. Now, he does like a little bit of pace, but he's only 16. We can improve that. We can get him onto that one. I think for a 16-year-old, this guy is absolutely ridiculous. And bearing in mind, he's only just turned 16. He's insane. The only reason I even found out about him was because Manchester City put a bid in for him, and then I got the news article saying matched bid. And I always take a little look at those whenever you get them, because obviously they're an affiliate club. But we've never, ever found a player worth bidding. And I saw this guy and I was like, wow, we can get this guy. We can. And so the deal was done. £9.5 million from Walsall for Jack Charlie. But I think he's ridiculously good. Not yet, but he could be one day. And I'm excited about him, even if we don't get a chance to see what he can fully become. To see a player with that kind of attributes at this age is nuts. I totally forgot that I actually did sign a right back, just to give us a bit of backup there, because Veldwijk's not back. This is Kane McLean, who's coming from Hearts for £10 million. A Scottish right back, yet to play for his country, but he's not bad. He's not spectacular. This is what, again, the problem you're having. The best we can really afford is not bad. There are a few outstanding players in this role, but no matter... Firstly, they won't talk to us anyway. There's a guy from Roma and there's a guy from Lazio that I've looked at. Neither of them will even enter contract negotiations, even when I'd agreed like a £90 million move for them. They won't even talk to us. So that's the kind of problem we're at. There's nothing to really bridge that gap currently. And now onto one of the biggest transfers of the summer. This is Regis Matondo, a Dutch centre-back. Now, I was still a little bit confused. After the deal with Villalba not fell through, but didn't work out properly and we had to loan him out, I needed to do something. So I thought, you know what, we're going to go in and try and find someone else. And then Regis Matondo came up. He's relatively quick. He's relatively tall. 15 marking, 14 tackling, 15 heading. Great determination. He's very driven. He's got good mentals. He's only 22 years old. Still doesn't even have a Dutch call-up. 45 million from PSV Eindhoven is the deal. That was his release clause, basically, so we had to pay it all up front. But I was actually happy to, just to give us a little bit of extra strength. And you'll notice that he has actually scored a goal for us already this season and put in some excellent performances so far. So I'm pleased with Regis Matondo. And this is he. This is our biggest outlay of the summer. Mateus Hubert, coming in from Montpellier. Now, the reason I wanted this guy is because I felt like not only was he good now, reasonably good, or certainly as good as anything we had in the club, but he had room to grow, and that's really the key for me. Great tackling, marking's not too bad, passing's pretty solid as well. He's got good work rate, really nice concentration, decisions, first touch, crossing and dribbling are fine, better than Vertelboer, and will improve. He's quicker. He's not as tall, I don't believe, but he's still pretty solid. Now, he has cost us £64 million in total. 30 up front, 35 over 3 years. So he is the most expensive signing in the club's history. And if only we could find a player like him on the right-hand side. That's where I really wanted it, but they just don't exist right now. Or if they do, they're already at the bigger sides and we can't afford them. So, that's our transfer outlays. I think it came to 145 million or something in, and I think about 50 out, which is decent for us, I'd say. I still think I want to make a couple more if I can find them. There's an Icelandic centre-back I've got my eye on. He's like 17, so he's not really one for now, but I just want to try and bring him in anyway because he looks really good. He's already got caps. And I was on the fence about maybe trying to find a replacement for Flammarion. But when we changed the tactic, he's come alive. He really has come alive. Anyway, game's off camera, and we've got a derby against Blackhaven today. You'll love to see it. So by the time we actually moved into the full season, we were already playing the new lower approach. Look at this for lovely work here as well. Billington round the side for Flammarion. Injuries all over the place, but Flammarion gave us the lead here. Unfortunately, Kaio had an injury, so he's missed the first 2 games of the season, but that gave us a 1-0 lead. Then Flammarion again here, just wonderful stuff. Goes past the defender, gets a little bit of fortune when it breaks back to him, but he's able to finish it again. 2-0, second goal for Flammarion. Then in the second half, Jack Charlie's long ball up to Grant White, and this is just lovely. Grant White just keeps on going and eventually just places a lovely shot low into the bottom corner. It's so nice to see. And then lastly, in the 78th minute, Flammarion all by himself again, driving through the middle, goes past the guy through his legs here, round the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. 4-0, hat-trick for Flammarion. But not only that, I just wouldn't have seen that kind of composure out of him before. Fantastic stuff for a hat-trick on the opening day for him there. And you'd be tempted to think, well, that's just Nottingham Forest. Makes total sense. Yeah, it was. And then this was Spurs. We conceded a 4th minute direct free kick, sadly. Spurs had a lot of long shots in this game, mostly. Very few chances. But then, after 18 minutes, they suddenly found themselves 2-0 up in this match. Just out of nowhere, really. Just scoring a couple of absolute belters. Campbell with a lovely drilled shot. 2-0 to Spurs after 18 minutes. But then, the comeback was on. Half an hour into the game, we finally got ourselves back into it through Clive Kimberley. Look at this. Wins the ball, cuts inside the defender, gets into the box, and just drills it into the back of the net for his first goal of the year, 2-1. Then in the 72nd minute, Kimberley's cross was put in, Matondo with the header, 2-2. I thought, hey, a draw against Spurs is a bloody good result. But then there was one more. Milan Lonchar dispossessing the defender. He was back in the lineup for today after a slight injury, gets into the box, slots it home beautifully for 3-2 to Whitport. What a win. And after 2 games, we've won 2. 7 goals scored, 2 conceded against Spurs, both long shots though, but you could see in just over the small sample size, we did concede 2 against Spurs, but that's just a bit unfortunate really. There was 2 long shots. Sometimes they're going to go in. We weren't giving up a lot of chances, and that's really the key for us. We're creating a lot of chances. We're scoring a decent number of them. We got 4 in the first game, 3 in the second game, even against Tottenham, and we're not really giving up many. And I think that's really boding well for our season. And I think the reason we're taking these chances, it seems to be just because we're being a bit more ponderous, biding our time, and creating a higher quality of chance for one thing. And players just seem more composed in front of goal this year. Don't know why, but we seem to be up for it. And it might just be a total blip, but all I've done is knock the tempo down by 1 touch. Blackhaven still bottom though. Unfortunately, I've already conceded 5 goals this season. Arsenal though have already let in 8. They have won a match, but they have also conceded 8 times already this year. So they're not strong at the back, it would be fair to say. But regardless, so Eddie Howe's Blackhaven. Now, we'll go through their transfers in the next episode because we're going to run out of time here. But what I can tell you is they signed Adria Pages from Liverpool. You know who? The striker that scored a hat-trick against us for Liverpool like 2 seasons ago is now at Blackhaven for £30 million. So that seems like a good thing for me. I think this is the year that Blackhaven finally take the plunge and get themselves relegated. So we'll do a quick little change of route here. Kaio is finally back just about fit. He came back and then got injured the next news article immediately afterwards, said that he got a twisted or like tight something or other. So he is just about back again. Balde's finally fit, but I'm going to still start Simon Nelson today just to make sure that we're keeping things fresh. We're going to start Kimberley instead of Mike Nielsen, but Mike Nielsen looks like he could be a proper prospect for us in that role and gives us options as well, because I honestly think that he could still play here. It's not perfect, but I think he could actually do a job there if required to. At the back line, Connor and Matondo or Matala. Oh, Matala's pissed at me because he didn't like the fact that we signed Matondo. So I might actually start Connor here. And then Hubert and McLean in the back line. I think this will be McLean's first ever appearance for us. Veldwijk is nearly back. Not completely back yet, but he's getting there. He's on the way to being back, which is the main thing. So the bench will be Abbott, Chan, Balde, Billington, Matala, Nielsen, and Bouzidi. I'm going to put Lashko on the bench for Balde, because we do need an option here if we can. Although Nielsen can probably do both. But I don't want Rui Lashko to get pushed too far down the order. But honestly, it doesn't seem like they've gone anywhere since Eddie Howe took over. He took over when they were already promoted to the Premier League, basically. And the first season they did well, and they actually made loads of signings and improved the squad a lot. But since then, they've really just been treading water and slowly going backwards because they've just not been signing anybody. Right then, let's go. Man City already have a plus 12 goal difference, smashing teams left and right, as you do. But I just want to see if this continues to work well for us, the style of play that we use. Now, Forest played a 4-4-2, and Blackhaven are playing a 4-4-2, and we smashed Forest 4-0. So we'll see. You never know. I mean, they can't be any worse than the last time we played them, but they actually look a reasonable amount better, to be honest. So far, we've seen nothing from us in this game, chance-wise. We're going to try and work ball into the box for a bit, see if Kaio can deliver something special for us here. Matondo's header, and it's in. They completely unmarked Regis Matondo. He has hit the ground running this year. 2 goals in 3 games for Matondo. He's not even, I mean, he's 6'4", but I think he's just got an element of power. He loses his marker, backs into the zone, and they're just not tackling him at all. Good header from him, and we lead at Blackhaven. Wow, this has been anything but a classic, but the key thing is we're winning the derby, and it could make it 3 wins out of 3 to start the season, which would, I believe, be our best ever Premier League start to the year anyway. But I'd still like to see us be a bit better in this second period. We haven't looked anywhere near as free-flowing in this match as we did against Spurs or against Nottingham Forest, for that matter. A few little changes just to try and freshen things up a little bit here. Blackhaven have had some half chances, apparently. I don't know why we haven't seen them. We are on extended highlights, so I don't know why we haven't seen them, but oh well. This is definitely the best Blackhaven have played against us for a long time, and we're very fortunate, I'd argue, to be in front here. McLean, Kimberley, oh my god, Clive, come on. Pages is through, and I mean, that's just ridiculous defending. Adria Pages scores his first goal for Blackhaven, but what is Clive Kimberley doing there? They deserve the lead, they deserve the goal. But, like, oh, Jesus Christ. Great ball from Ernie McKinnon. And Pages has just finished this easily first time, but we've just allowed that. Come on. They certainly put themselves up a bit in the second half, created a decent number of chances, and I think they probably deserve more than the point that they're probably going to get here as it goes, but I'll take it if we can get it. Kayo. Nelson just drills it to nobody. Our creativity has suffered a lot today. Not entirely sure why. We've just not really been able to create any opportunities against them like we did against Forest. There we go. Blackhaven 1, Whitport 1. A draw in the derby. Sees us go up to 5th. We're still right in there. Annoying. We gave up too many chances in today's game, and frankly, we were very lucky not to concede more than one. Still nice to see us score a goal without really creating a lot in the game, but it was from a set piece. We've got to be better in future. It's the first time we've not won a derby for quite some time, it feels like. Anyway, next episode, we're going to come back with Norwich, of course, so I will see you guys then. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. I hope you have. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, that'd be sick as well. I stream on Twitch on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so go follow me too, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hold your gun, Capybara. Bye-bye.